a show that tackles the big issues affecting the BVI and the rest of the Caribbean. Searches for answers to today's big questions and gives viewers a unique perspective on developing stories. Follow the big story with me, Kathy Richards, only on GTV. This show is brought to you by the National Bank of the Virgin Islands, Cyril B. Romney Turtola Pier Park, NV Salon, Nail Spa and Barbershop, Tisley Cross Deliciously Smooth Cider, and Digicel, simply more speed, reliability and entertainment.
Plug into Digicel Plus and get even more entertainment with Disney Plus included. The best of Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, and National Geographic all in one place. Whenever you want, plug into Plus to enjoy Disney Plus and much more with a home fiber bundle. Sign up today. Digicel Plus.
A quick discourse on the land issues that is of so much concern. We came up here for a community meeting with the residents of Anegada, and for the sake of privacy and confidentiality and freedom of speech, we did not do a recording. But I want you to, in a discussion forum, anyone can speak at any time, give me a rundown of the situation and where we're at with dealing with this once and for all.
Well, Kathy, thank you, and I am happy to be here on the island of Anegada with the representative, Honorable Vincent O. Wheatley, the Premier and the other ministers of the cabinet who were here. They had to leave because the ferry was leaving, but we had a very productive meeting earlier. And I am here also with President and Chairman Ruan, who has done a successful job over the last year with his committee, who have been able to process over 123 applications for the people of Anegada to be able to move the process along so that they can get their land and titles in their hand. But it has to go through the process as it reports to and relates to the COI recommendation of B30. I'm also want to recommend, Kathy, and commend the team at the Ministry of Natural Resources who have worked tirelessly to ensure that we are working in partnership, in tandem with the Anegada Lands Committee, with the district representative, Honorable Shireen Flax Charles, who is also aware, and the Premier for supporting this initiative. So we had a very productive meeting. There are some challenges and continued nuances that we will continue to work out, but I believe I could stand confident and say, just as the chairman and his team has been confident that they have made successes in addressing some of the issues that the people of the Anegada here on today were pleased, and we have some deadlines that we have to report back to them, and I will be happy to do so in collaboration with the representative, with Chairman Ruan, and the people of Anegada. So on behalf of my ministry, on behalf of the people that we serve, I am happy to be here. So I will turn it now to Honorable Wheatley.
Thank you, Minister. I must say the meeting was a very productive meeting. As usual, Anegadans, they came out in numbers, they asked their questions. They were very respectful, but they were very blunt in the questions they did ask. I want to commend the Minister and his team at the Ministry. I want to commend the Chairman for the hard work they've been doing to bring this very troublesome issue to get under control, so to speak. I was so pleased today when I heard the number of applications being processed. And hopefully by the end of the year, there'll be deeds in persons' hands. That has been our goal from the very beginning, to make sure Anegadians get deeds to their lands so they can have a stake in their own country to develop these lands for the benefit of themselves and their families. So again, I want to thank all the Anegadans who came out today, who asked the many questions, health questions, land questions, education questions. Again, the Minister and his team, the Premier, and all who were here, I thank them very kindly for coming over to Anegada, taking their Sunday afternoon off. They could have been with their families, but they chose to be here to address this very important issue of land ownership on Anegada, among other issues.
Before we move to the chairman of the Lands Committee, we have a unique situation here, where for the first time in the history of the Virgin Islands, we have you're the former Minister of Lands, and now we have a current minister, but you are in one government. There must be some collaboration, some transition. I laughed a little bit when the minister, now minister, said to the former minister what he said. Walk us through that transition and the Honorable Whitley, I remember very well when you got into office, this is one of the things
Yes.
that you had promised the people of Anegada that will be dealt with once and for all.
Kathy?
We're in almost a final year. Yes, we knew that there was a COVID situation and all of that, but go that transition and that progress.
I'm so glad you asked that question. I want to commend the minister for his maturity, the way he took over the ministry. He doesn't sleep. He believes in people. He loves the people of the BVI, particularly Anegada. Whatever he could do to help the people, he has done. And I must commend him very highly for that. Between us, there's no animosity. Any question he can ask me, I will happily answer him. But, he's a sharp guy. He's a very sharp guy. And again, I commend him. He's picked up that baton. He's running with it full speed. So I commend him for that. Nothing has slowed down. Anything, it has speeded up. And I'm eternally grateful that he and the chairman both kept that pressure on. Let's get it done. It's important work that was started. We're not going to drop the ball, and we're going to keep this ball rolling.
Well, I want to say, Kathy, I have known the representative long before politics. We have been friends. We have been able to work closely together. He has worked on some projects in my district, specifically on Just Van Dyke for the Albert E. Shernery administrative building there. So for me now, having the mantle, I am working this ministry and working the things in this ministry as it relates to people and as it relates to building a BVI where people could appreciate the importance of getting the lands, getting the ability to develop and pass on generational wealth. I'm happy to work alongside with the district representative because we share one thing in common. We have the best tourism destinations between the 2nd District and the 9th District. So when it comes to our people, we have the same thing in common. And I'm happy to work alongside Chairman Ruan, the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Natural Resources and Labor, and the entire Anegada Lands Committee team, we have met on 3 occasions. The last, which was last week Saturday, from 7 to about 10:30. They didn't want me to go to sleep, but they knew the importance of preparing for this meeting, and I was happy that the people received, with questions, with recommendations, they received the information, and now we just have to do the work to take it to the next step, which is submission and the approvals to get lands and deeds and titles in the hands of the people who submitted the applications.
Okay, Chairman of the committee, I know that we were in a rush to catch a ferry, but I am also confident that ferry not going to leave us here.
I agree.
Right? So
I agree.
Because we need the people to understand that this is not just a concern of the people of Anegada. There are people who are residents on Tertola, on Virgin Gorda, who share a passion for what is happening with lands issue here on Anegada. So I want you to give us a quick background from when you would have taken the helm of the committee to where we're at now.
Well, the committee was voted in July 5th of 2020. We voted on the executive body on July 6th, and we started working on July 7th. It's always been boots on the grounds. As many know, many people in Anegada are interrelated, so we know each other's plights. And we didn't want to have a situation where nobody was left behind. So we had to take some time before we were given the opportunity to be appointed by cabinet. We took some time in learning the Renwick report, the processes, how to go about doing what we needed to do for the community, and we just went and executed. As you know, we had some situations, some hiccups, as I would say, in the past, but honestly, after October 26th, I would say this over and over again, at a meeting held in Loose Mongoose, we put our differences aside and we put Anegadians first. And ever since that day, there have never been any conflicts whatsoever. It's all about Anegada moving forward. When the transition was made from Honorable Whitley to Honorable Turnbull, we had a meeting and he said, we gave our presentation as far as where we are, what we've been doing and where we want to go. And Honorable Turnbull gave us our blessing and let us to know that, hey, no is our answer as well. And with that understanding, we went forward and we helped the community. We wanted to prepare, like Honorable Turnbull alluded to, we had this 3-hour plus meeting where we wanted to cover all bases to make sure that when it came, and it did happen, you see live and direct that when we answer all these questions and we give our presentation, you won't have any more questions to ask because we put everything there for you out and in front. And I feel in my heart of hearts, Anegadians are pleased with what it is the committee has done. Now we have to go to phase 2 as far as the partnership with the Ministry of Natural Resources in making sure now we toe the line and we go and we cross the finish line, and not just that with the committee as far as dealing with the walls in our final phase of our tenure. You may know, Anegadians own a lot today, what we call walls or wall paddocks, and there's been a lot of issues and a lot of struggles with the Anegadians getting deeds to these paddocks and estates, and that's what we want to go about getting done. We recently signed the, how you stated, the contracts? Yeah, the MOU for the business plan workshop that's going to be starting on Anegada in November, and we're also working on an initiative to help the Anegadians when it comes to estate planning, and we just want to make sure that Anegadians have all the tools available to first know what they're doing, gain the knowledge to attain the land and retain the land. And lastly, we also want to make sure that any questions, any comments, any concerns, you could come to the committee and the committee will work for you in addressing these situations with the ministry from this open and collaborative situation we have going on. So I want to publicly say I appreciate Honorable Wheatley and I appreciate Honorable Turnbull, and we can continue to do what we need to do for the people at Anegada.
In all fairness to those who would have been fighting with you, pouring for you, and working along with you, you had some statistics that you were able to share today in terms of how many lands you were able to process, what percentage is yet to be done. Could you share with us that information?
Okay, well, I know off the top of my head there are 195 applications that we received. Out of the 195 applications received, 191 of those applicants have been approved for their recommendations to move forward to the Ministry of Natural Resources to get their deeds. Out of the 195 applications, there were 145 applicants. Out of the 145 applicants, 112 of those applicants have had their applications submitted to the Ministry of Natural Resources. We have approved 116 out of the 195 applications, with the remainder of, what would that be? The 87 or something like that. With the remainder of the applications, I know we have a 70% of those being commercial applications, which is why we wanted to enact the initiative to create the workshop so that the commercial applications could get trained writing business plans so that their business plans could be complete. I know that by the following week, we would have upgraded those numbers from 116 to around 140 applications being submitted, which would leave like a 77% of the remaining applications being those commercial applications. So the big hurdle right now is to get the business plans done and the training set so that the Anegadians can now submit those applications. And then, Kathy, with pride, I say this, by the time we are done with this process, that age-old adage that the Anegadians have been waiting years for their deeds will never be spoken in Anegada again.
Okay, and quickly, Honorable Turnbull, that issue of deed, because when all is said and done, we could go around the world and talk about what process is being done for what, unless you can have that paper in your hand to say, this is legally mine. Where we're at with that?
Well, Kathy, I think when you understand the history, when you understand persons like Theodore Faulkner, when you understand the fight of the generations that stood before, whose shoulders we are now standing on, people who are waiting years and generations, people who have died wanting government to do something to provide a deed and provide this process so that they can have in their hands. It's often said that the dream that persons have is not really ever realized by that person. It's realized after they would have passed. And now I'm happy that the generations that are here on Anegada will be in this present moment able to see their dreams of their forefathers realized and foreparents realized, where they have that piece of paper in their hand that they can say yes and tell a story to their children and children yet unborn that we had a fight here on Anegada, we had a fight with government, we had a fight with people, but now we have this ability that we have this piece of property. Instill in the persons within their family the knowledge and the importance of why they need to sustain and invest in it for generations yet to come. Because you cannot just give away something that your foreparents bled and sweat and tears for just because you're looking for a quick return. So the deeds are extremely important, and that's what I believe this BVI continues to be about, where we are developing the people and developing this territory for generations yet to come. Education, business, the ability to own land, that's what the BVI model is about. And again, I am thankful to you, Kathy, I'm thankful to the Honorable Wheatley, Mr. Chairman Ruan, the Premier, Honorable Kai Reimer, Honorable Marlon Penn, Honorable Shireen Flax-Charles, who all came today. And we were here to stand in front of the people of Anegada with homework to do, but we were able to report to them on success stories created by a committee. So again, on behalf of this government and national unity, on behalf of everyone here, God bless you. God continue to develop these Virgin Islands, because we are still standing on the solid ground.
I would not allow you to close out without saying what you need to say as the Minister for the Territory about lands in general.
Well, lands in general, Kathy, that's something, again, the COI recommendations B30 as it relates to Crown lands, but lands in general as it relates to the people owning the land, the foreign direct investment, the persons looking to develop for business purposes. Land is key right now in the territory of the Virgin Islands, but there has to be a process. There has to be understanding, the education, and the ability to be able to develop property, develop for housing, develop for commercial or real estate areas. But we are working in the ministry to educate the public on the importance of land, on the importance of this process that we're going to now model and take as and form as a part of the COI recommendations of what you do, having an independent body review and submit applications to the ministry that further goes to the government and governor for approval. And we're going to use this process as a model here in Anegada, one of the islands that make up the Virgin Islands. So I am happy, proud, even though it's not on Just Van Dyke, but I'm happy that it took persons from the island of Anegada who came together, used their mind, used their resources, and used the criticisms and the ridicule that they would get. But I also tell Chairman Ruan, if you are doing something that people are not talking about you, you're doing the wrong thing. So now that we've got to this point, I think we had a little pause there where we were waiting for some echoes that we didn't get, but that's what success is. So I am encouraged to the people of the Virgin Islands on behalf of the ministry. We're going to be working to educate the people of the Virgin Islands on the importance of lands and the development. I'm working on a program, Kathy, in Virgin Gorda with a copper mine here in Anegada with the titles and deeds that will be given on Nibs Estate in Seacoast Bay, in Paraquita Bay, and in the 2nd District in Spooners. Those lands that need to be cut and developed and give people access who have received deeds, we are going to be running a program there. The excavation and the access for those properties are going to be handled and taken care of by the Ministry of Natural Resources and Labor. So on behalf of the people of Virgin Islands, I'm grateful, I'm thankful, and we continue to work in excellence to serve you.
Minister Turnbull, thank you. District Representative Honorable Vincent Whitley, thank you. And Chairman Ron, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you, Kathy.
We know that where you choose to bank matters, and it is your vote on what your funds do in strengthening our community. As your official Bank of Paradise, we invest and support the lifeblood of our economy by helping in the realization of personal goals for homeownership, education, and entrepreneurial visions, which support small businesses. We make it our place to connect with persons and worthy causes, and we have been doing so for more than 30 years. Where your money goes and what your dollars empower are your choice. And we thank you for choosing us, a bank that gives where it matters the most, for you, for our community, and a happier tomorrow. The National Bank of the Virgin Islands.
Plug into Digicel Plus and get even more entertainment with Disney Plus included. The best of Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, and National Geographic all in one place. Whenever you want, plug into Plus to enjoy Disney Plus and much more with a home fiber bundle. Sign up today. Digicel Plus.
Freeze. Choose your mix, choose your flavor.
Hey, you. Put on some muscle?
I did?
No.
Rapid growth and reliance on digital systems has opened new vulnerabilities, and additional layers of cybersecurity are required to combat sophisticated cyber attacks. Simply Secure's security management solution helps overcome these challenges. Our service includes 24/7 protection for network devices, computers and servers with automatic restoration, security audits, and penetration testing. Don't wait for disaster to strike. Contact us today.